Hi and welcome to the next edition of Photoshop, specifically for SIT, and we're going to be covering a couple of things in terms of recoloring images. So if you've got a base image and it doesn't quite fit with your background, I can show you a couple of tricks and tips for getting that to work. So predominantly it's for those of you who are almost the whole way through your 100 level paper, or those of you studying 206. Obviously you can't change the angle of light, and you can't easily change the direction that you're looking at the person or object from, so make sure when you're starting off with your images that you actually have these matched as closely as possible. But I will show you how to change some of the colors and exposures. Now if you're running Creative Cloud like we are, then it's actually a lot easier because you can simply double click on your layer, and providing it's a smart object, and bring it up into Adobe Camera Raw, and that allows you to then change your color temperatures, change your exposure, increase your contrast, and all those bits and pieces, change the depth of shadow. And when you click OK, it will prepare that smart object and change it again. So you can see from just that adjustment it now fits a little bit better with the background. Okay, so Control and Z will undo us, step us backwards. For those of you who do not have Creative Cloud, there is another way around it, and what this involves is we're going to use this layer mask that we've already spent the time and effort creating, and we're going to transfer it. So we're going to create a new group, and we're going to drag and drop the image into the group, and then holding down Control, you can drag the mask, get it right, so that it actually attaches to the group. Okay, so nothing's changed as far as we're concerned for the image, but that layer mask is now actually blocking out the whole of the group rather than just the layer. So the next thing we need to do is add an adjustment layer, which is this function here, and we're going to add something called curves. Now you've probably seen these already in Adobe Camera Raw, but it does allow you to change the individual tone of pretty much any part of the image. In this case we're only obviously working on the piece that's masked out, but if you wanted to increase the whites, you can increase the whites just by lifting the top end of the curve, and if you want to increase the density of the blacks and make them dark, you can bring this end down, and this is what we call an S-curve. You can see that it's only affecting this part of the image that's masked out. If we want to change the effect of the whole layer, grab a new adjustment layer and go curves again, and this time drag it until it goes above the group, and collapse the group down so we can more easily see what we're doing. And we're going to put that S-curve on the layer again, and this time you can see that the whole of the sky changes colour. The nice thing about that is we've got all that level of control, and it's affecting everything underneath it rather than just the area revealed by the layer. So if you're wanting to change the effect of over the whole image, make sure your layer's on top. If you just want to change the effect of a small portion of the image and you've already masked it, move your mask up into a group, and then you can put your curves and bits and pieces in here. And of course that's not limited to curves, we can also use the color balance tool, and this one you select via the midtones or the shadows or the highlights, and you can see the color tone actually changes in the shadows. So that blue is turning the black to a much bluer hue. Quite useful if you actually want to do split toning in Photoshop. Once you've desaturated your image, you can use this to split tone the shadows or the highlights, and in this case I want the highlights to go a little bit more yellow. Let's change the slider. Now I happen to like that, but I don't like what it's done to the bird. So what we can do is grab our normal brush and make sure the layer mask is selected, and you can paint onto that area of the image, and see the color tone, should be able to see the color tone just change on the hat, but it's now no longer affecting the bird. And that color masking, or that masking, will work on whatever you're doing. So the curves, if we want to keep the edge of the bird slightly brighter, decrease the hardness, and we can use that black to cover up the edge, and basically you can create false shadows on whatever you're working on, and that can be quite useful if you've got a light source coming in from one direction that you need to cover up, or fake a light source coming in from another direction. It won't do an absolutely fantastic job of it, but at least it gives you an option to help the image settle down and sit together.